Uh, Today we are excited to present our research on workplace hierarchy and its influence on team dynamics. In any organization, hierarchy plays a major role in shaping communication, decision making, and overall team success. But does it always help? Or can it sometimes create obstacles? Our project explored this question, analyzing whether workplace hierarchy acts as a catalyst that drives efficiency or a barrier that steps collaboration. Uh, yeah. So whether you are working in a startup or a big corporation, the way a team is structured plays a huge role in how well it functions. A well-defined hierarchy can help with decision making, but it's too rigid. If it's too rigid, it might stop people from sharing new ideas. We wanted to understand if hierarchy actually helps team success, or if a more open, flexible structure leads to a better collaboration and innovation.
Authoritative positions within that organization. This hierarchy is going to keep us busy, but before we go there, let me just recall, and that was what the supermarket example was also about. Every person within that organization plays a major role. This mid-level manager, just as much as this person here at the bottom, just as much as the CEO of that organization. So how come that if you know that, okay, if you know that you're putting together an organization for that purpose, there seems to be this strange gravitation towards the top, right? Like the Fiddle Picture Corporation. Problem number one was that we communicate these things as individual achievements and people try to look like great individuals. Problem number two sometimes is that managers actually get it wrong, okay? And how do they get it wrong? Well, they tend to believe in what we call steep incentives. And nowhere else is this more prominent than in a so-called upper-out model, where essentially individuals are being given the illusion that when they enter an organization, every position at the very bottom is just a race towards the top eventually, right? Because this is where you win the cup. And that upper-out model works in certain industries, in certain firms, but it hasn't worked a lot across loads of other organizations. And I guess one of the misconceptions why managers adhere to this still until this day is because they're so much afraid of this here. Complacency, right? That unless, you actually give people these incentives, they all bum around. And only the boss is working. Well, admittedly, these organizations do exist, right? Particularly of a certain size and certain age, these kinds of complacency effects can prevail, but that doesn't mean here that this is the solution. Of course it's not the solution, right? To make people temporarily appreciate what they do, but only, under the promise that eventually they will be CEO one day. Easily. The reason is because these hierarchies, these very hierarchies that you put in place in order to keep the people where they should be, okay, mid-level, lower level, higher level, and so forth, create a life of their own with toxic side effects that actually run exactly counter to what they should be doing because they pull people to the top. Okay, so these administrative hierarchies, while necessary, distract people, make them aim high in undesired ways by what psychologists call exacerbating an effect of evaluation apprehension or lack of control.
It's like for a lack of a better word, it's like a sword on your head. You have hierarchy, you have a problem. You don't have hierarchy, it could be a bigger problem. What is the real need for hierarchy is, one is to bring in experience. When in a team, if you see, it's always a pyramid. There are people who are with less experience, and there is somebody with the middle management, and then there is somebody with a lot more experience. So the idea of a hierarchy is the guy at the top understands the business well, understands the organization, understands compliance, understands all of that, and is able to take a better decision than compared to somebody at the lower end because of the experience. Not necessarily because he's intelligent, but because of the pure experience that he brings to the table, and because of the ability that he has got for seeing the future better compared to the others. Also, it also means he has a more holistic view of the organization as compared to somebody who's at the beginning of it. So in that sense, hierarchy is extremely important. Now, it is important to understand that this hierarchy doesn't become a choke point. So how many layers you have in the hierarchy is very important, right? So some organizations have a fairly flat hierarchy, which means 1, 2, 3 steps. Somebody has multiple levels of hierarchy, which is 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. So it depends. Again, nothing right or wrong about it. It all depends on the industry that you are in. I've had the fortune of having gone through both types of hierarchical structures. So if you ask me, I believe a hierarchy with a hands-off approach, which in itself is a contradictory statement, is the right approach. Again, nothing right or wrong about it, as I said, but then that's what I feel more comfortable with. Where you have a hierarchy, the hierarchy intervenes as and when it is required. It is not. My problem in hierarchy is how quickly do you turn around a decision. In some fields, for example, in manufacturing, it is very much required because the hierarchy comes and says, what is the impact of this if I implement this change on the shop floor, what is the impact? Because the decision that they take is not going to impact one person. Sales is it's a very simple way to do it, right? It's a pricing negotiation or a term negotiation. It's simple. But in a manufacturing shop floor, it's a different way. If I make one change, how many people will be impacted? Will I need to increase or decrease the shop floor strength? Will I need to buy in more equipments? Now, if you look at it, I need a hierarchy there. Otherwise, it will become very difficult. One man taking the decision will impact the whole organization. It can bring down an organization. So there's nothing right or wrong. It depends on the situation and depends on what decisioning you're doing. Some decisions can live with a flatter organization. Some decisions will need a. So there's nothing right or wrong in my opinion. If you go to Europe, for example, their way of doing business is very different. What they do is, if, for example, there is an idea, right? They will have different departments, and they're not hierarchical. It's flatter. It's very flat, but different divisions coming and sitting in and discussing it. They will discuss it and go back. 3 to 4 days later, they'll come back and discuss it again. They will go back. Week 10 days later, they'll come back again. Now, if you look at it, what would have happened in these 3 meetings is the whole idea would have transformed from what they started in meeting 1 to meeting 3 or 4. Once this is clarified, because today I'm talking something, right? Tomorrow, if you talk to me, I may talk similar, but there'll be something new. Then there'll be something new. So that builds onto your, what should I say, final decision. So it is not hierarchical, but it's flatter, but different divisions. So how do you call this hierarchy? I don't know, but the decision making is all about group there. It cannot be a single person. So it depends what kind of decision you're taking, how critical it is, where does it impact. So the more the impact, the more time it takes, the more hierarchy it has to have. Your ideas are appreciated, but then that has to be validated. How do you validate those ideas?
As you just heard, hierarchy isn't simply good or bad. It depends entirely on your context. Mr. Vasudevan describes it perfectly as a sword on your head, challenging either way. In sales, you need quick decisions. A sales rep shouldn't wait through 4 tier approval levels just to adjust pricing for a client. But in manufacturing, as Mr. Vasudevan points out, changes can impact entire systems. One decision might affect dozens of workers, equipment purchases, and production schedules as well. Here, proper hierarchy prevents costly mistakes. What struck me most was an example from Europe, where ideas improve through repeated discussions across different departments. The cross-functional conversations transform initial concept into something much stronger over time, regardless of formal structure. So the key takeaway from this: choose your structure based on decision impact and team needs, not organizational fashion trends.
So yes, decision paralysis is often considered like one of the main downsides of like hierarchical organizations, right? If you have more hierarchies, you basically tend to seek approval from everybody before you can do something, right? Yes, and things improve if you have a flat hierarchy. But again, as I mentioned, there are some other challenges there, because with flat hierarchies, the decision maker is basically taking decisions for a lot of people simultaneously, right? So there might be chances of oversight, and then there are no peer review mechanisms in place because there is no hierarchy at all, right? So what I have seen working well, specifically in terms of reducing the decision paralysis, is adding time bound decision making, right? So what we mean by time bound is, often if you are basically waiting for a decision, it tends to take a lot of time for people to basically get back to you. Now in this modern era of agile methodologies and many other tracking tools, like decision making also gets encompassed into a framework where everybody has a time bound window, like where they actually have to either reject the basically act on the decision making right away, right? And then they get like clear reminders on how much time like you have left to basically decide on this person, right? So that is one aspect. The other aspect is the like with different hierarchies, one thing that always helps, if let's suppose people who are actually initiating the projects have the flexibility to choose the decision chain, right? So in a typical world, what happens is, if let's suppose an engineering team is working on a project that tries to leverage AI LLM into like a specific product, they are usually bound to reach out to their leadership chain, which is mostly eng, right? Product eng. um, the problem here is the product end might not have like that visibility and that level of expertise on the AI world. So if this team would have the flexibility to choose the AI domain partners as their decision making authority, with this should improve like the decision making a lot, right? Because this team is more closer to the AI environment and how it is going to be interactive, like how much GPUs it is going to cost, whether it is going to scale or not, things on those lines. And then maybe the final authority rests with the product chain, but they would have more confidence because the experts on the AI chain has actually given the MLGTM, right? Last but not least, you should also have a defined fallback and escalation path. So what if the decision making authority is like on vacation for the next 2 months? Right? Do you have somebody else who could basically take decisions on their behalf? That is also like one key step that decision makers need to ensure while they are taking vacation or other thing. And then also escalation path, right? So if, what if I'm not even getting a decision like in 15 days, right? Do I have the right escalation path so that I can inform folks to take action and see where the challenge is? So yeah, all of this combined, I think would help improve the decision paralysis end game that most of the teams are trying to solve.
You can see in the clip that Mr. Akash highlights how decision paralysis can occur hierarchy due to need of multiple approvals. On the other hand, while flat hierarchies aims to speed up the decisions, that they can suffer from oversight because a single decision maker may lack a peer review. To combat decision paralysis, implementing time-bound decision and reminder is crucial. This ensures timely actions and prevents bottlenecks. And on the one more thing that Mr. Akash emphasized that while many aim for agility, flat hierarchies are rare in the large organizations. Instead, project manager can often play a vital role in coordinating efforts. RSA charts are essential for defining roles, especially when multiple teams are collaborating to avoid role overlap and clarify accountability. Organizations face distinct challenges based on their structure. Large organizations need to clarify accountability through hierarchies, whereas the flat hierarchies can struggle with their prioritizations. In conclusion, underscore the importance of a balanced hierarchy struggle while agile decision making process and clearly defined roles to optimize team performance and avoid common pitfalls.
To overcome this rigid structure that often comes attached with the leadership hierarchy or management hierarchy, uh, we need the effective communication system in any team. And it is true for any industry that is outside IT as well. At Metaverse, we strive for effective two-way communication across all levels of the company. We believe in leadership without bureaucracy. So to have the effective communication going, all team members are encouraged to actively provide feedback and suggestions about our products. We hold daily status and update calls to discuss progress and address challenges faced by the team members. They are encouraged, they are asked to provide and share about any issues that they face in the lifetime. And of course, they can also approach for one-to-one discussions. And then we utilize the group chats and communication apps for both inter-team and intra-team discussions, allowing team members to escalate, prioritize their messages as needed. We have specific team channels as well on communications that streamline the communication process, ensuring that information flows smoothly and efficiently. In the end, the vital thing over here that any person, any team member who is working and who is expected to perform at best of their ability, the communication should always be open. And that further towards that side, we use digital mediums, and we are of course using the human touch as well. We have dedicated HR department, and we participate in non-work related activities too.
As described by Mr. Charan Singh, in today's dynamic workplace, effective communication is the key to success. To break hierarchical barriers, Metaverse promotes open two-way communication at all levels. Employees are encouraged to share feedback, actively participate in daily status calls, discuss challenges, and encourage one-to-one meetings or group discussions. This approach fosters transparency, boosts collaboration, and ensures that every employee feels heard and valued. By breaking down communication barriers, Metaverse creates an environment where innovation thrives, teams work seamlessly, and productivity soars. Their commitment to open dialogue not only ensures work culture but also drives long-term success, a truly impressive model for organizations everywhere.
Higher officials are helping us to decide in case of normal operation as well as in emergency situations also. I can put a few examples like what you can say, heavy rain and flood in 2016 in Chennai, where almost everything, every runway was closed for 2 or 3 days, and water was flowing like anything in whole Chennai city. Most of the flights got cancelled, diverted to the other airports like Bangalore, Arakonam nearby airports. In that case, it's our seniors who help us to decide what to do. Maintaining the hierarchy, it's our like in India, we are following pupil and this, we can say teacher uh, relationship in our training organization also. So they are treating us like their gurus, and we are treating them our shishya. So it's a very good relationship, and we are letting them know that every senior person in air traffic management is having some sort of experience in air traffic management. If they will be respecting them, senior person, then senior person will be letting them know about how to deal with the situations like which is not already in published document, or in case of any known eventuality, they will be sharing their own experience to deal with the situation. So it's a win-win situation for the people who are coming to AI, and you can say air traffic management department. If they are respecting seniors, they will be coming to know more and more experiences of the seniors, which will be helping them to grow in hierarchy. Every time a person who is working in air traffic management sitting on channel will be getting a daily, almost you can say daily, or you can say in every minute different type of situation, and which is noticeable, that is coming very rarely, but of course being working for last 10 years, you can say for 10 years in Chennai in active ATC, I have faced so many situations like that flood was there. After that, smoke in all area control center was there, and many go around aircraft which are going to come, but we are not landing at that time, and they were there, and I have dealt that thing also. And our seniors have helped me because our SOP also defining very clearly, they have demarcated each and every boundary of the controllers. Like the controller who is working there, they will be having some other responsibility. The person who is supervising that controller is having different responsibility. The person who is supervising all the shift, he or she is having different responsibility. The person who is in charge of that particular station is having different responsibility. And the person who is supervising the shift will be also available every time for each and every eventuality. Based on their experiences, based on their demarcated responsibility, they are basically helping the controller of particular, you can say, aircraft to come out of the emergency situation. It's always in operational area, operational position. It's our hierarchy is helping only to come out of the situation because everyone is having responsibility to deal that situation.
Yeah, like in that type of situation, like senior helped you all to like come up from that situation, that type of with their responsibility. Like everyone has their responsibility, right?
Yeah.
So from interview, I learned that hierarchy plays a crucial role in air traffic management. ACT, like air traffic controller, follow the SOP, a standard operating procedure, to make sure that all decisions are taken systematically. And senior controller guide junior, especially in high risk situation, ensuring a smooth and safe operation. Clear and disciplined communication is very important in ATC, as even a small mistake can lead to major risk. And that's why ATC professional use the phonetic alphabet. Like they didn't say A, they say that A for apple, B for Bravo, and C Y for yak. This type of what they use to like avoid any confusion and miscommunication with each other. And one key learning from the interview was that even though ATC follow a strict hierarchy, junior can still report mistake or share ideas with their senior or instructor as long as they follow SOP. They can interrupt their senior and instructor, but they need only the condition is they have to follow the SOP. Whatever it is mentioned in SOP, they have to strictly follow that. And shows that hierarchy doesn't always limit communication. It can also provide a structured way for the junior to contribute.
How does one's creativity and one's ideas are being recognized in a hierarchical team structure?
Okay, so first of all, let me make this clear that I'm talking about Red Hat specific. There is no hierarchical blocker. Um, yeah, there could be team leads, and if there are no team leads, there could be a team manager and senior manager, your skip level manager, and then you have more senior people, up the ladder. But there is no rule, or your manager will never discourage you to not initiate conversations or engage in dialogues with your the senior people up the ladder. And but sharing your ideas does not mean that you really need to talk to the CEO of the company, because uh, and I think whoever you think can help you, who you think would listen to your ideas and suggestions, you're free to talk to them. No
Got it.
problem at all. I have seen people, um, mentoring in Red Hat, mentoring people from different projects within Red Hat, and it's like I'm working on something else, and this, another person is working on something else, and I'm mentoring to someone else, and someone is mentoring to me, and we are not in the same team, we are not in the same project. So I think it's very open here in Red Hat. As long as you're willing to learn, you're willing to do new things, you're always welcome to share those ideas.
So the interview with Mr. Manish Kumar really highlights the importance of good ideas and valuing them in our organization. So it shows us a fundamental truth that good ideas are valued in organizations where there is an open culture, and regardless whether the structure is flat or hierarchical, the ideas merits really matters. And at Red Hat, it is just not collaboration; it is the really interacting in the teams that is really encouraged. And mentorship is not just confined to seniority, as we have seen with this interview, that mentorship can happen across different teams, and we align our goals and do with this a clear communication. And this really becomes a crucial insight, because successful teams recognize that innovation thrives when we welcome these diverse perspectives. So it is not about where the idea comes from, but whether it has the potential to drive the meaningful impact for the company. And to create such an environment, we must ensure that our teams are structured in a way that encourage this open contribution and open dialogue.
Implementing several practical strategies can significantly improve our team dynamics. Starting with establishing open communication channels, encouraging two-way communication, and using anonymous feedbacks to assess inclusivity. Moving on to DIEB training, where DIEB stands for diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And ongoing DIEB training is crucial for creating a supportive, diverse culture. McKinsey study shows companies with diverse workforce are 35% more likely to achieve above average profitability. It brings a wide range of perspective and ideas, create a environment where employees feel safe to express themselves without fear of judgment. Finally, uh, offer personalized growth plans. Recognize that every employee has a unique aspiration and challenges, providing tailored development opportunities such as mentorship program, flexible work arrangements, and skill building resources. Uh, these ensures that each team member feels valued and empowered. By investing in individual growth, company fosters a culture of continuous learning and long-term engagement, ultimately strengthening the overall team.
Let me walk you through the problems before jumping to the solution. Traditional hierarchy often create bottlenecks. Decisions take forever and departments don't talk to each other often. On the flip side, completely flat organizations leave people confused about who's responsible for what. My research and key insights from the interview as well suggests that taking the middle path with what we call a hierarchy with a hands-off approach is the optimal way. What does this look like in practice? Well, you maintain some structure but give clear boundaries for making their own decisions. Keep communication flowing in all directions, not just top down. Instead of overwhelming teams with endless to do lists, focus on just a few key points. Also, the higher management should only intervene when it's necessary. The key is adopting this approach to your specific industry. Manufacturing needs more guardrails than creative fields like sales, but everyone benefits from bringing multiple perspectives together. Many research backs this up, which says teams perform much better when they have both clarity and autonomy. So, as conclusion, I would like to say that it's about finding that sweet spot between structure and freedom.
First one is balance approach for effective collaboration. So the point in this is a mix of hierarchical and flat structure ensure both clarity and agility. And hierarchy provides stability while flexibility foster creativity and quick decision making. And in today era, like tech and or the modern business prioritize engagement and adaptability over rigid command chain. So they follow only the flat structure, not the hierarchy. And a flat structure and hierarchical structure can be shown in one of the example of Bay of Bengal disaster, in which NGO follow the flat structure to take the quick decision and improve the efficiency. But the in government and soldiers was following the hierarchical structure to take the decision on the critical thing, so that they can take correct decision. So in this moving to the forward, second point is adapted a structure for different needs. So a flat structure works well for a startup and creative industries and promotive innovation, so that they can take quick decision and they can communicate to each other quickly. So and hierarchies are essential for large scale operations like government agency and manufacturing, as I mentioned in the Bay of Bengal disaster. And a hybrid model allow organization to scale efficiently while maintaining creativity. And the third point is industry specific consideration. A fast changing sector tech and e-commerce benefit from the flatter structure for agility, but as they move forward, they also use the hierarchical structure to make the discipline and rule regulation. And traditional industries like manufacturing and public service require hierarchy for the efficiency. And matrix organization needs clear communication to avoid confusion in decision making.
What we have seen throughout our research and from these interviews, that as organizations grow, they do need this hierarchy thing. But what matters is that we do not need to think of it as a rigid structure, because the reality is much more nuanced. So the effectiveness of a hierarchy really depends on the context. So like research shows that steeper hierarchies can be beneficial when there are simpler tasks, because by reducing task related conflicts really works, while complex tasks, like Ashwarya said about when teams come through iteratively for different sales meetings and making sure the ideation works through, we can do for more complex hierarchy levels. And flatter structures like for a sales team encourage collaboration and innovation. And now when we talk about the teams and their basic interest, we must ensure that trust and openness in a team transcend hierarchy. And organization that really emphasize on inclusive decision making and peer accountability see greater commitment and performance over there. And like a red hat, an open culture really flattens the traditional barriers, so ideas succeed based on merit and not just their rank in the hierarchy. So this principle is also echoed in the holacracy experiment of Japos, where leadership is distributed across like a network and people pick up their work based on their skills. So what we can say is that hierarchy is not the enemy here. The key is to strike a balance and ensure that hierarchy really supports the organization rather than stifling the collaboration efforts. So by optimizing workplace structures to fit team dynamics, we create an environment where leadership is shared, innovation really flourishes, and teams perform at their best.
Workplace hierarchy hinders or promotes effective team dynamics. My research source from the academics, studies and TED talks and podcasts and expert opinions. And real world experience reveals that hierarchy can play both roles. The determined factor is how it managed. A well structured hierarchy can clarify roles, streamline decision making, and enhance performance. However, if not managed effectively, it can stifle creativity, slow down process, and create unnecessary barriers with the team. To harness the benefit of hierarchy while migrating its drawbacks, I propose three key solutions. First is empowering leadership from flex decision making. Empower leaders to involve team in decision making while boost creativity, as noted in the applied psychology articles. Empowering leadership can uh, counteract the negative effect of a strong informal hierarchy on a team creativity. Implementing flexible decision change, allowing experts to make informal decisions, establish clear deadlines for decision making to avoid paralysis. Share information widely to increase the motivation and understanding. Secondly, cultivate a culture of equality and shared value. Establish a clear shared value to align everyone towards a common goal. and recognize the value contribution from all team members, regardless of the positions, balance equality of the opportunity with the accountability for outcomes, adapt a culture driven structure while ground level decisions are encouraged, fostering agility. Third, solution that is implementing hybrid structure and defined roles, combining elements of hierarchy with the self-management to foster autonomy and focus, use RSA charts to clarify defined roles, and adapt the organization structure to fit the context, blending traditional and flat models. A hybrid model takes the best of in-person and remote in schema. In conclusion, workplace hierarchy is neither inherently good or not bad. Its impact depends on how it managed. By empowering leadership, cultivating a culture of equality, and implementing hybrid structure, organizations can leverage the benefit of hierarchy while fostering team dynamics that drive innovation and productivity. So these are my solutions based on my research. And now our team leader Akash will provide you the final recommendation based on research that all we did.
In conclusion, we'd like to say that often organization need a hierarchy in their team, but with the open communication and collaboration, we can blend the best aspects of both hierarchical and flat team structure.
So what do great organizations get right when they're dividing labor and integrating effort? Because this is what organizations are all about. They're not demonizing hierarchies, okay, as some of the fashionable magazines and management so often would make you believe. These are very good instruments for structuring work, but they're making sure that they're suppressing the toxic side effects of these hierarchies. And that means they will make sure that they will be very careful in sanctioning motivated employees. They will be very, very much devoted to making people feel that they're involved in decisions. And what they will also do is they will try to make sure that specialists at the lower ranks receive the recognition they need and can attain status without moving to the top of the hierarchy, which would have got nothing to do with increasing corporate performance. So my message for you in a nutshell is, for an organization to reach high, of course everybody needs to reach high and aim high. The motivation is ultimately important, but that doesn't mean that all the people should do that in the same way. They should do this in their very own ways, because we cannot all be bummers. That doesn't mean we can all be bosses. Thank you.